It's time for another VARguments episode where we discuss the most contentious refereeing decision. Match day 29 in midweek was another exciting one, and two of our decisions to be discussed came from one game. Victor, in the Manchester City versus Nottingham Forest fixture, Haaland appeared to have been clipped by Forest goalkeeper Matt Sells, but the verdict given was no penalty after a VAR check. Right call or not?
I don't think the contact is the issue here. I do believe there was some contact, and when everything is played at that sort of speed, even a little contact makes a difference. But here, on one hand, he was never getting to that ball anymore anyway, and I, for one, don't like seeing those penalties given when the attacker takes a touch so heavy just to get into that position and hit the deck. On the flip side, we have seen so many of these penalties given that it seems like it's the norm. So, for consistency's sake, I would have to say wrong decision, but because I simply do not like this type of thing being given, I'll say correct call. Deal with it.
Max, your answer to that?
I mean, whether we like it or not, as I know in the rules, if the ball is still on the play, I mean on the pitch, and the goalkeeper hits the attacker, which he obviously did, it has to be a penalty. And when I was watching the game and saw a couple of replays, I was kind of shocked that the ref didn't even go to VAR, as always recently. They just don't care about anything else, and they just give up. So I'll go with wrong decision.
Yeah, so I sort of have two answers to this question, but because we always use the word consistency every single time in this episode, I think I will do the opposite and say right decision. And I'm going back to Victor Gyökeres against Pope earlier in the season, Arsenal versus Newcastle. This was the exact same incident, something similar. And I remember saying then that it was a wrong decision, which I still stand by. But if they decided that we are going to be consistent with that kind of incident, saying, oh, we are not going to give it, then based on that, I would say right call. But in my head, somewhere up in my head, you can argue that it's the opposite. But yeah, based off consistency, I would say it was the right call. But anyways, moving down to the same fixture, another penalty incident in that game, Victor. Forest goal scorer Elliot Anderson appeared to have kicked the foot of Rodri right in the box as Rodri was attempting a shot. And now the verdict once again was no penalty. Correct decision or not?
Probably one of the most subjective decisions you see all season. And you can make arguments for both options, honestly. On one hand, the shot had been taken already when the contact came in from Anderson, and often enough referees then ignore this sort of thing, which can be dangerous from a player welfare point of view because it sends the wrong message. On the other hand, anywhere else on the pitch, it's a foul. Maybe even a booking if the ref is a bit stricter than average. Honestly, I don't rightly know what to make of it. If it would have been given as a pen on field, I don't think VAR would have overturned it either. But I'm going with wrong decision here because I do not like seeing the idea of, oh, it's okay if he wiped him out, studs up. He had taken the shot already. So wrong decision.
Interesting take. Max, your answer to that one?
I mean, it makes sense from one perspective that he already took the shot, so it would never affect the moment itself. But obviously, he could have made another injury for Rodri, and we wouldn't see him for like 6 more months. And refs should defend players, obviously, and especially stars of the league. So I'm going with wrong decision just because the contact was heavy, and it could have been an injury for Rodri again. And I should, if a ref is not saving players, I should go with them.
I'm sorry to interrupt here, but I don't really agree with your take here, especially with the stars. No, everybody deserves the same respect and safe working environment. I don't care if it's Haaland. I don't care if it's the third choice goalie.
Right. Yeah, I think this one too is just slightly a wrong decision. I mean, you can argue that yes, he took the shot, or you can argue that where was he supposed to to put his leg, because they were both going for the ball. They had every right to go for the ball, in all fairness. But Rodri got there faster than him. It was a poor tackle at the end of the day. And just like Victor said, if this tackle would be given anywhere else on the pitch as a foul, why is it treated differently in the box? So for me, wrong decision all day. And anyways, moving away from the Manchester City v Forest game, let's go over to West Ham v Fulham, where Castellanos was judged to have fouled Carney when the Fulham man was attempting a shot from inside the box. A penalty was given, but after a review, it was overturned. Victor, right decision or not?
Not. It was clumsy. I'm sure there was no intent there. I mean, this is a striker trying to defend, so we know how things go sometimes. But this is a penalty for me. He didn't exactly make a challenge, but he certainly got in the way of Kearney's foot and impeded him from actually playing the ball. Castellanos didn't really make a move to get the ball. He just got his leg in the way. Wrong decision, and it's a pen.
Max, your take on that one?
I was thinking about this moment a lot, and at the end, I ended up saying it was a correct decision, just because the fact that player was... I mean, we saw a lot of moments when the player just puts his leg in front of the player trying to shoot, and it ended up being up a penalty. But in that particular moment, an incident, he stood straight on both legs, so I don't know how you call it, but he won the duel, and he was first on the ball, even though the player was trying to shoot, but he ended up just kicking the defensive player. And if he wasn't staying up in front of him and just tried to put the leg in front of him, trying to block the shot, I would say wrong decision. But in that moment, I'd probably say that it was correct decision.
Yeah, for me, it was a wrong decision because sometimes, aside the sequence of play, I like to look at the intent. And the intent from Castellanos to me was to impede, Carney from taking that shot, to stop him by any means possible from taking that shot. Yes, it might not have been too malicious, but we can see the intent from the way he put his legs. And if you're stopping someone from making a shot in a way that is not a natural right tackle, then it should be a penalty for me. So for VAR to overturn this one, that has to sting. It has to sting a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, wrong decision in my opinion.
Yeah,
But on that
but
note,
then look, in the first incident with Haaland, they're
Okay.
not inviting ref to watch it. But at the end, the ref himself put the penalty, and they somehow decided, go and check that, and it ended up being overturned.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I think we still have to mention that word every game week. The consistency or lack of it is always going to be a problem anyways. But that's all we have for the VR episode after match day 29. We're asking our viewers to join us in the conversation. Should City have gotten a penalty or maybe two? And did Castellanos foul Carney in the box? Tell us what you think. I'll be waiting to hear from you in the comment section.